Michigan got back on track, but given the expectations versus the result, there's been talk about, at least on this show, about Harbaugh's seat and how warm it is. Is it cooling off a little bit, or is that not a big enough win?
I don't think that's going to do much for him right now. I mean, to me, Harbaugh's season and maybe future, Max, is going to be determined by Michigan State, Penn State, and Ohio State. That's really where the action is in the Big Ten. And I've been thinking for a long time that this was not a good fit. People at Michigan keep trying to force the issue that Jim Harbaugh was a great hire. Well, he was a great hire in the NFL when he went to a couple of Super Bowls, but so far he has not adapted very well. Now, could things change with Shea Patterson? He's the quarterback that Harbaugh hopes will
transfer that was supposed to be big news and didn't make any news.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But I still think he could help them. Michigan State's not that great. They went out to Arizona State and lost.
What is the deal with the quarterbacks? I mean, it's always like they're a quarterback away. Are they still a quarterback away?
I'm not sure. I think Patterson is pretty good. I've seen him at Ole Miss. Although, by the way, he would not have won the starting job at Ole Miss this year.
Mm-hmm. I got two questions. First things first. I'm a fan of Kevin Sumlin's. I'm very worried about him already. You lost it at Texas A&M. You got out of there after going 7-5 your last season there, 8-5 the 3 previous seasons. You're at Arizona. You lose to BYU to open the season in a thriller, but then you get blown out by Houston, 45-18. Talk to me about his situation at Arizona right now.
Listen, I probably use the word hot seat in conversations more than any analyst in America, so I don't want to come down here and say that this is premature, although it seems like it is. I think he is a good football coach, and I think he just doesn't need a disaster this season, especially with the quarterback that he has, Stephen A. But that's what happens, and coaches like that get exposed very quickly. I think it's premature, and I've rarely in my life said a coach on the hot seat is premature.
Mm-hmm. College football, yeah.
But it's only 2 games.
Yeah.
And he wasn't helped by the fact that Jimbo Fisher looks like he has snapped his fingers and made A&M look good. He's not helped by the fact that Herm Edwards, who everyone said
where I was going
was
next.
a terrible hire.
Yeah, not so far.
Has done well.
That's where I wanted to.
That's where 23 in the rankings.
That's where I wanted to go. His team went up to 23 in the rankings. Talk to me about the job that Herm Edwards has done at Arizona State and why they are in the situation that they're in now at 2-0.
Because I think he had a fair team, but I think he's relatable. I mean, listen, everybody here knows Herm Edwards. A lot of people at home know him for the reasons he got sent packing from the NFL. I would have bet against it. I just thought sometimes you parachute in after being gone, but Herm showed Saturday night that he's still a good fundamental football coach. He's a great motivator, and he got his team ready to play in a great spot.
Herm doesn't buy into what people say.
Yeah.
He's just looking at what he's looking at.
Herm Edwards is a phenomenal motivator. He walks into your living room. Your parents are going to want their kid. Your parents are going to want your kid to go play for that man.
But I'll tell you this: had he gotten off to a bad start, the narrative would have been similar.
Yeah. Yes.
And beginnings do matter. They don't totally define you, but in college football, you don't get a snapshot like a 16-game season in the NFL. It's quick.
On that note, Paul, Chip Kelly, 0-2.
Yeah.
Sorry to go hot seat again, but is he going to be able to survive these?
Yeah, listen, he lost to Oklahoma. Yeah. Didn't look good losing in the first game of Cincinnati. But Chip Kelly, I do believe of the coaches we've talked about, will ultimately get his imprint on that program. I mean, this is UCLA. We're not talking about Alabama or Florida or Ohio State or Michigan. I mean, this is not a football power. They've had some success, and Jim Mara with Rosen had some good moments, and even before that. But I think with Chip Kelly, it's way too premature.
Do you think that he's going to be able to get players to come to UCLA? I know it almost sounds blasphemous to say it is Southern California. It's a beautiful place to be. We get all of that, but with SC sitting right there, UCLA not being a big-time program and what have you, I'm wondering, do you think he's going to be able to recruit at UCLA?
I think he can, because I think people know who Chip Kelly is, although every year you're removed, we're talking about the mindset of a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old, and Chip Kelly may not be as important to that individual as maybe we think he is.
But his SC is important anymore because as to a 16 or 17-year-old, Pete Carroll was a long time ago. And there's been this kind of extended window where UCLA could make some noise and maybe start changing the culture in Southern California.
And Max, you talk about a game that I think was really important that nobody's going to be all too hung up on is SC playing Texas. You talk about a wonder boy, Tom Herman, 2 years ago. Everyone wanted this guy. He helped Urban Meyer win a national championship. And suddenly, I mean, he's lost to Maryland. If he loses this game, I mean, this is not even a good loss.
How much of that is because, like, I look at Texas, I look at Michigan, programs whose fans are irrational about them. They think they're much bigger deals than they are. But they're big deals, but the success has not been there in a long time for those programs.
I've hung around Texas fans. I mean, very few fans in the country have more of a higher opinion of themselves than University of Texas fans.
I guess for me, to piggyback off of your question, Max, I look at a program like Texas. It's so much money. You got the facilities, you got the money, there is no excuse to be mediocre. You know the talent that comes out of the state of Texas and that whole southern area. You can't, I mean, if
but
you're
their
Texas
expectations are the problem is what I'm saying. Michigan and Texas, they
should be able to get better talent.
Fair enough. Wait, I want to get to a good game because we got a huge one in the LSU Auburn. How important is this game for both these teams?
Well, it's really important because you lose the game if you're either side, and you're done because you still have to play Alabama in your league. You still have to play Mississippi State, which is good. They went on the road to beat Kansas State, which isn't a bad win. So you don't survive this and really have much of a chance unless you start knocking people off. Now, last year, Auburn went to Baton Rouge, blew a 20-point lead, and still was able to overcome it. But they beat Georgia and Alabama, both games at home.